Oh, good.
We're going chasing.
Hello there, and welcome to...
We're going chasing.
Hello, now, and welcome to...
We're going chasing.
Now, we have a lot on the agenda, lads, so we'll cut the chase and get straight down to the business.
Hello and welcome to the latest episode of We're Going Chasing. I'm joined here by Paul Callaghan from the Irish Field to preview the Dublin Racing Festival's Sunday card. Hi Paul, how are you? And thanks a lot for coming on.
No bother, Cillian. Thanks a million for having us on. I am very well. Just finished up for the weekend with the Irish Field. We got a big paper going to press this weekend, and we got the Cheltenham magazine, of course. It is launched. It's going to print next week, so it's all very exciting. And looking forward. We've got a cracking weekend of sport. We were just talking. We got the rugby tonight, recording on a Friday. Rugby tonight. I'm off to. I think you're off for the 2 days. You're lucky enough to. I'm off for day one of the Dublin Racing Festival. So all's good.
Yeah, even like looking at the GA and stuff, Dublin and Mayo tomorrow night in the Gaelic football for our English viewers. Google it. But that's going to be a big one down in McHale Park. So that might be something for a nice viewing in the pub tomorrow night.
Dublin Mayo, I'll have one eye in the athletic grounds in Armagh to see how Meath are getting on up there. We had a bit of a slow start now last weekend in Navan against Fermanagh, but hopefully we'll be keeping our best football till the summer. The weather gets dry.
Football needs a strong Meath, though, doesn't it? Leinster football needs a strong Meath to try and
definitely. We could do with a strong Meath. Louth are going very well at the minute. They were unlucky last weekend, but they're certainly, they're thereabouts. You think this year, Kildare, it's hard to know what you get with them, but definitely I think we could do with a competitive Leinster again. That's for sure.
Definitely try and take one away from Dublin. Right, so Paul, we get straight into it, and the first race on the Sunday, the 12:40, is the Paddy Mullins Mares Handicap Hurdle, a listed race. So we got Foxy Girl 7-2, Risk Bell 4-1, Feet of a Dancer 6-1, Splashing Out 9-1, and it's bigger the rest. Then where would you be looking in this race?
I'd be looking to take on the favourite with Risk Bell, who was, where was she, 5.5 lengths behind Seddon at Punchestown back in April, then won a similar event on day one of the Winter Festival at Fairyhouse back in December, getting the better of Nutstretch. Ran out an easy winner on that occasion and was slightly maybe disappointing, beaten favourite last time out, but I thought lost very little in defeat to Jatara, who I think has a bit of a squeak on day one of the festival. So at a bit of a price, 9-2, I'm seeing here, best price that'd be with Risk Bell. So yeah, for the winning with Risk Bell, and for anyone who likes one at a bigger price, Media Naranja, who's currently best priced at 25-1. There are 5 places on offer if you are having an each way bet, but Media Naranja has struggled at this level in the past, but albeit that was on testing conditions, has posted a couple of placed efforts on decent ground. I know the official going is soft, but if we get any drying between now and Sunday, Jack Kennedy's on board, has a handy weight of 10 stone 8, and Media Naranja could be worth a bit of a small each way play at 25-1, but it's Risk Bell for the win for me.
No, that's fair enough, and I do think it probably is no more so than the Saturday. If you want it, you sort of have to try and take on these favourites that, like Foxy Girl, for all that she looks really, really well handicapped. She's found it a small bit hard to win with, and I think at 7-2, I'd like to take her on as well. And one I'm looking at is right down the bottom, a Sam Curling horse, Hdle. She's about best price 22-1. She's general sort of 20s, 18s shot. She was a winner of a handicap hurdle off a mark of 97 in Punchestown in a couple of weeks ago, and she only won by about 2 lengths that day, but it was really, really snug. I think that a step up in class shouldn't be any problem to her. She's got a really nice race and weight as well. On Sunday, she's off 10 stone. Philip Enright keeps the ride there, and she is an improving 6-year-old. She's only had 4 starts over hurdles, and I think she is something that, albeit she's gone up 17 pounds for winning, I'd say she's still better than 114. Whether that'd be enough to beat something like Foxy Girl that does look like it's thrown in, I don't know, but off 22-1, 6 places on offer, I think she's worth a few quid anyway. So that's sort of where I'd be leaning in that race. Moving on to the next one, then we've got a 5-runner affair, which could be 4 runners depending if found to 50 runs on Saturday or not. Is the Ladbrokes Novice Chase over 2 miles 5. American Mike, Factifile, found to 50, Gaelic Warrior, and Grange Clare West. It's going to be it was an interesting one to price up between Factifile and Gaelic Warrior. I suppose Factifile had been favoured all week, and just with Gaelic Warrior being taken out of the Arkle and put in here, they sort of flipped, and you've got about 10-11 on Gaelic Warrior, 2-1 Factifile, 11-2 Grange Clare West, and 20s bigger the rest. Where would you look here, Paul? Is it as simple as it's a match?
Yeah, it is. I think bar disaster. It is between the top two, and out of those top two, I think Factifile. I'm seeing 2-1 here. I think that could be a massive price come Sunday afternoon. I thought he was very good the last day. Jumped well. I think Gaelic Warrior, if he can lay up with him early, which I'm assuming he will, and just annoy Gaelic Warrior as much as he can, and put him off his game. He jumped very well. So touch wood, that shouldn't be an issue. And I was very impressed with him the last time out over course and distance, and I think he'll take all the beating here. I think 2-1 is a massive price, but Factify.
Yeah, I agree with you 100% here. I'd be looking at Factifile as well. Just not even on the prices, but just I do think he's so much scope and for improvement, and like I don't know, he can go right to the top over novice fences this year and into next year as well. Be interesting to see where the pace comes from. I think Grange Clare West will probably try and make it, whether he'll have the speed to lie up with Gaelic Warrior, who'll probably want to go forward as well. It will be interesting to see where that is, and it looks like there probably only will be 4 runners. I can't see Found a 50 running here. I'd say it does make a bit more sense for him to stay at a 2-mile trip that he's a Grade 1 winner in. But yeah, Factifile I thought he was really impressive the last day. And like to say that, like I know I'm completely discounting Grange Clare West, and he's a Grade 1 winner in his own right. It's mad. Like it speaks to the quality of the other two. And I think if 2-7-4 on Factify, I think he's worth a nice few quid. But I suppose it's if he does drift out on the day and there's money for Gaelic Warrior, I'd say there will only be one winner there, just given the colours in operation with Factify. But I do think Factify has the ability to beat him, and hopefully we see a few quid coming from, and he runs a good race. So moving on then to the third race in the card, the Tattersalls Ireland 50th Derby Sale Novice Hurdle, Grade 1 over 2 miles. We've got a cracker here really. Ballyburn is the even money 4-5 favourite. You got Farron Glory, who looked like he was going to win a second Grade 1 in the Tolworth over in Aintree on Stevens' day. He's 130. Slade Steel 8-1. King Kingsfield, who's improving all the time, 11s, and then 12s the rest. I suppose it's hard to look past Ballyburn. Are you siding with him, Paul?
Cillian, this is one of the races of the 2 days, I think. I think this is going to be an absolute belter. Tactically, it is fascinating. I think the top three, I think, are better over 2.5. Farron Glory, I'd be with Farron Glory if he hadn't fall last time out. Done very little on approach to the hurdle, just knuckled on landing, but he got a really horrible landing. Like he turned a complete somersault. So it'll be interesting to see what, if any, mark that is left on him. I'd imagine he'll be big. He'll give the first 1 or 2 plenty of light, and Jack Kennedy then will be hoping to get him into a rhythm then. So if Farron Glory takes to, if that fall last time out hasn't left his mark, I think he'll go very, very close. Ballyburn, if it was 2.5 miles, I'd be all over Ballyburn. I think he has got a huge engine, but I have a slight question mark with him over 2 miles, albeit a stiff 2 miles. He could go and win by 10 lengths, and even money could look a big price. But I think at the moment, even money is short enough. I thought against Firefox over the 2 miles at Fairyhouse, when he's meeting the hurdle wrong, he's slow, he's awkward, which is fair enough. He's a big horse, and as my old boss Henry Daly used to say, for big horses, by the time the message goes from the head to the feet, quite a long time has passed. But when he meets one spot on, or he's long, he's very, very good. And I just think over 2 miles here, I could be vulnerable at one that's a bit sharper. And I'm going to side with Slade Steel from a betting angle. I think Slade Steel, again, you could argue he shapes as if 2.5 miles is his best trip. He won over 2.5 at Navan last time out, looking like he'd nearly get 3. He was, and he's a small horse. He's probably the smallest of the 3. but his heart's in the right place. He gets the job done, rolls up his sleeves and gets stuck in when he has to. Really like that when the horse ranged up alongside him, approaching the last at Navan last, or the second last at Navan last time out. He just put the head down and got stuck in and grinded it out, and he won going away. The time before that, he looked a bit workmanlike, winning his maiden hurdle. I think that was at Naas. He would have shade cozy at Navan last time out. And he will need to improve to take this. But I do think if you watch the replay, he pricked his ears and just was pulling up as he hit the line. So there's still more to come. 2 miles on the sharp side for him, but he's best price here at 8-1. I'd be happy to take a chance on Slade Steel.
Yeah, I agree with you there, Paul, on all of what you said, really. Like Far and Glory, I don't like backing horses off a fall, especially one as hard as he got the last day.
It's just an awkward, horrible looking fall, wasn't it?
It was, and like there's no doubt in my mind he was going to win that race very easily. And like I think at the time people sort of said, "Is the Royal Bond form that strong?" And like he was definitely franking it. And King of Kingsfield came out at Christmas and beat a real talk horse in Mirror West. And King Kingsfield at 11-1. I know he's the Gordon Elliott second string, but I think he's the fastest horse in the race. He has the most speed. And since they've ridden him differently, like Jordan Gainford gave him an unbelievable ride in the Royal Bond, and he was very unlucky not to win it, I thought. And since they've started holding him up and coming with 1 run late, he seems to be a completely different horse. And I think at 11-1, I'd be disappointed if all 3 of the top 3 beat him. I think he might beat one of them. I don't know, will he win the race, but he might beat one. Slade Steel, I know we've got Rob Acheson coming on in a few minutes just after the Dublin chase, but he seems to think that maybe he probably is a 2.5 miler, but I think he has a bit more speed than people are giving him credit for. And like he's a horse that probably only just does enough as well. I think he's keeping a bit to himself there in his races, especially like go back to his bumper, like he won very cosily that day, and I thought he did as well in Navan, to be honest. So it'll be interesting to see how he goes back down in trip. But yeah, I think Ballyburn is probably another one of them favourites that like you probably just want to take him on. I'd happily let him win at even money rather than back him at it, to be honest. So that's sort of where I'd be going there. So the next race on the card and the last one before we loop in Rob is the 210, the Dublin steeplechase. And like I think it's Cheltenham and Ascot's loss is Leopardstown's gain here, really, with El Fabiolo, and he brings massive star quality to it. He's a 4-11 shot. You got Dino Blue, the mare, 11-2. Gentleman to Me, the winner of the race last year at 8s. Captain Guinness 14s, and San Roy running another one of these grade ones at 66s. Very hard to see El Fabiolo beat. Paul, can you see Dino Blue putting it up to him?
No, can't see anything putting it up from. I think the dangers will be in front. I think Touchwood clear round. You'd love to see him just win and win well, going to cement his credentials at the top of the market for Cheltenham. And you're not just looking for a one beside his name. I think we're going to be looking for something special here, aren't we?
Yeah, I agree 100%, and hopefully he does deliver. Like I know people as listeners of the podcast know I'm a huge Captain Guinness fan, and like it wasn't his true run at Christmas, but he has no chance of beating El Fabiolo, unfortunately. Dino Blue is improving run by run, and like she could give him a race, but it's hard to see it even with the £7 mare's allowance. I think he's an absolute superstar, and as you said, it'd be great to see him absolutely hose up, because after John Bond getting beat, we're probably lacking that. Well, we might, if he was beat, we're lacking a superstar really in the 2 mile division, and I think that's what everyone wants to see. And hopefully they both get their safe and sound, because John Bond will hopefully get back to his best for Cheltenham, and we can get a great clash on the Wednesday.
Yeah, absolutely.
So we might just park it here for a second, Paul, and Rob is just going to step in now to give us a rundown on the Robcour runners for the weekend. Okay, due to popular demand, Rob Acheson is back ahead of the DRF weekend to speak about the Robcour runners. Big weekend ahead for you, Rob. You have a lot of nice chances in the races.
Yeah, no, big weekend. We'd be going with a few more each way chances than solid win chances, but if we get one on the board, we'd be delighted.
No, that's fair enough. I actually had a very good running order for this, but then Bob Ollinger was declared the Irish champion hurdle, and I put that put that to bed. So I think everyone wants to know, like Bob Ollinger, what do you think? How's he going? And he's going to take his chance on Sunday.
Yeah, he's gonna run. He's flying it at the moment at home anyway, but he's always been a good workhorse, so I'd say you can't read too much into that. Look, sure, look, everyone can. He's at the age where everyone has their own opinion of him. They either love him or it seems to be very much people either love him or hate him at the moment. So yeah, look, if he can run into sort of second place, he'd be delighted. He's gonna be ridden to win the race rather than I've seen a couple of people say he might be ridden to just finish well and finish second. No, he's going to the race to give it a Rattler go, a Rattler winning it. I personally think it's half a mile too short of his optimum. But yeah, we'll give it a rattle and see what happens. He'll probably come around traveling. It depends how the race works out really. Like if Fiduderie tears off like he did the last day, that'll probably play more to what we want than if they go crawl and it becomes a sprint. Like he's ran over 2 miles twice over obstacles. He's been beaten twice. I know last year he wasn't himself, but he was beaten. If people remember, he was beaten in a sprint by Fernie Hollow. So you'd like some sort of strong pace to aim at, and once you get that, if he's good enough, he'll hopefully hit the frame anyway. And Duck State Man will be very hard to beat.
Yeah, no, and hopefully Phil's Dudery does tear off. I think a lot of us do want to see Bob do well, and it'd be great to see Bob win it. Like the roof would be tore off the stand if it did happen, and that's just myself. So next on the list we have we're going into the juvenile race on Saturday, and we have Cala Conti. She was a winner of the Grade 2 at Christmas, and she takes her chance in the Grade 1 here.
She does, yeah. She goes. She was. I think she actually won with a bit more in hand than people are giving her credit for. I know she was getting £3 off the Kenny Mare Cargees, who I'd be a big fan of. Like I think I texted into the group chat after it. She'd be my fancy for the Triumph at 16s immediately after the race. Like, but no, she's a hardy old mare. I don't know whether she'd have pure speed for Grade 1s at 2 miles, but I think like there's a couple of races later on in the season. Like I can't even if she does run in this and win this, doubt we'll go to the Triumph with her. I think her big aim is probably going to be in May in Altoy, the 2.5 mile race that Gallimar so won there. But no, it's open. It's open to discussion. But sure, she has to get tomorrow out of the way first. But if she's beaten, I wouldn't like be overly disappointed because I don't personally think she's going to be quick enough for that grade of race at that trick.
No, that's fair enough. And look, she's had a good few runs this season, and she's ran well in all of those, even in defeat in Fairyhouse that day. So next horse on the list then, and the last one you have in the Grade 1s is Slade Steele, and he takes his chance in the juvenile hurdle where Ballyburn looks difficult enough to beat.
Yeah, in the novice hurdle.
Or the novice hurdle, yeah.
Yeah, no, you're grand. Yeah, it's pretty much going to be singing off the same hymn sheet as I was for Callaghan. I personally don't think it'd be quick enough for it, but I know you have a bit of a different opinion to me on it. I know the day against King of Kingsfield when he won by 5 lengths. King of Kingsfield went off like a mad yoke in front. Like the pace he went up front was mental, and he just kind of fell into a hole. But he did have us off the bridle a long way out because of doing that. So I can see if a similar pace is being run, which it probably will be in a Grade 1, which has 10 plus runners, like that if there's that many runners, something will tear off. And I think I'd be far more likely to see him staying on into anywhere between second and fourth than I could see him winning it personally, but could be wrong.
Yeah, I know. I think he's a bit faster than you're giving him credit for, but I do think he's similar enough to in the pocket that he's a very strong stayer at 2 miles, and look, the quicker they go, the better chance he will have. So hopefully for your sake they do go a nice clip. So then moving on to the handicaps, we move to Sunday and the mayor's handicap over 2 mile to Foxy Girl. She's been well supported this week. She's into favourite now. How do you reckon she'll go?
Yeah, no, it's been pretty much the target for the year. It was the target for last year as well, and she got injured. She ended up missing it. But yeah, no, it's kind of it's shit or bust time for her now at the moment, really. Like she doesn't get over the line in this. She probably just flatters to deceive a bit that she doesn't have as much in hand as we might think she does. But look, it's gonna be a proper handicap, as all the handicaps on Sunday are. And look, if she can, I'd say she'd probably be our best chance of a winner over the weekend now. But it's a handicap at the Dublin Racing Festival. It's never straightforward.
No, definitely not. And all the handicaps all are really, really competitive. There's no Gaelic warrior like there was last year, just thrown in to win one. So in the 320 on Sunday in the O'Driscoll's Irish Whiskey Handicap Chase, you run 2. Heartwood is best price 9-1, and then for the Mouse, Indiana Jones is 25-1. I suppose Heartwood seemingly has the better chance there, but Indiana Jones was placed in a Grade 1 last year over Novice fences, so he is a classy horse in his own right.
He is, yeah. It's funny. He went over to the Hall and Gold Cup, and if you look at who won it, he was only maybe 4 or 5 lengths off Elixir de Nuts, who went and won the Grade 1 there at Cheltenham last week. So it's wild, and they went. If you watch the race back, they went a relentless clip. Like they were all crawling out. They were all crawling home nearly. But yeah, no, Indy is very much, he's on a finding out mission to see whether he gets the trip now. Because I know for a horse the size of him, you'd think, Jesus, he's desperately looking for the step up and trip. But just we tried it a few years ago and he never really saw it out. So look, we'll see. We'll find out. Hopefully he does. If he does, it opens up a lot more options for him, because he'd probably be the slowest 2-mile chaser that's won a graded event in the world, like history. And then it'd just open up more doors. And if not, then we can just stick to the 2-mile handicap chase route. He might be one for a grand annual or something like that. Then Heartwood, yeah, no, he's been a small bit unlucky, I think, anyway, in the horses he's ran into in the 3 beginners in Ireland. He has a nice rating now, 136. If you go back to his first run of the season where he split, who was it? It was Corbett's Cross and Classic Getaway, was it?
Grange Clare West.
That was it. When he split them, yeah, no, it's fairly good form now.
Yeah.
But it's fairly good form, but it's going to be his first time in a handicap chase. Things might happen a little bit quick for him. He's off, a cliche I hate saying, but he's off a lovely race and weight, off 10-1 like. So it'll give him every chance if he copes with the pace they'll go. Like, there's Grade 1 horses in it. Like, they're gonna go quicker than he's ever gone in a race before. And if he can cope with it, he's a right chance. If he doesn't, he'll learn from it. And there's plenty more handicaps coming up in the near future. Anyway, I know I was talking to you before this, and they were saying the exact same thing, that there might be a race. You have the Novice handicap chase at Punchestown. You have a nice old handicap in Newbury next month. I think it's the first weekend in March. And look, we'll figure something out anyway. But hopefully he wins, and he'd probably be our second best chance of the weekend, I'd say. But that said, if he can't go with the pace they're going at, he's no chance.
No, that's fair enough. And then in the last one that's been declared in Leopardstown the weekend, running in the 2-mile handicap hurdle is on Tubber. So he's Grade 1 placed over that trip. How do you think he'll fare there?
He is Grade 1 placed now. It's one of those. He was Grade 1 placed. We thought, geez, the Lawlers, the step up and trip, it'll suit him now. They ended up going much faster in the Lawlers than they did in the Royal Band. Like, he was flat out for the first 2-3 hurdles, like, and it put him in a very uncomfortable position. He just wasn't going with it. He was kind of, look, it's again, it was his third run over hurdles. It was the quickest he ever went. Like, they went to crawl in the Royal Band. They went, like, that's why he was up in front trying to fucking set the pace. Yeah. Like, then in his main hurdle it was the same. So he should learn a lot from that. they'll probably go a similar pace in a 2 mile handicap hurdle here. In those good 2 mile handicaps normally go off like the clappers. And if he can learn from the Lawlers how to race at pace, he should have a chance anyway. And then we'll see where we go from there.
Yeah, that's great. So that's the whole lot in the Dublin Racing Festival. But you do have a runner in Musselburgh on Sunday in a per Tim's qualifier. Absolute no shit.
Yeah.
He heads over.
He's going over to qualify now. We wanted to run him at Christmas in the qualifier in Leopardstown, but the ground went against him. I think it's pretty much. I know he's gone very short for the attempts at the moment now. Like, I know some people are thinking he's an absolute certainty. He's never finished a race over 3 miles. He's ran over 3 miles once and pulled up. So he's gone to a crazy price now, considering he's not qualified either. I think there's 15 declared in that race on Sunday. Like, it's not going to be straightforward to qualify as some people think it is. Like, there's 15, I'd say. That's probably been the biggest field. Now, I could be totally wrong, but it's probably been the biggest field for attempts qualifier in the UK this season so far. Like, and look, hopefully, once he can finish in the first four, be delighted. And it gives you a chance. It gives you a chance to go to Cheltenham with one you think might be somewhat well handicapped.
No, that's fair enough. It actually reminds me of a horse. I don't think anyone will know about him. Eagle Line, his name was when Pat Kelly and Philip Reynolds were going for 3 in a row in the Pertemps. He could have been 6-1 for the race, and he hadn't qualified. He ran in a qualifier and got hammered. So plenty of people that backed him at 6-1, I'd say, and bigger maybe. And he wasn't qualified, and it's burnt fingers there. Like, it wasn't myself now, thankfully, but there's plenty of burnt fingers there.
So you're some man. You managed to get a fucking Pat Kelly and Philip Reynolds reference in to every episode. I'm surprised you haven't got Percy in yet.
Give me a chance. We're not done yet, because we do have to go to your nap of the weekend. I don't think Pat Kelly and Philip Reynolds have one, so I don't know what you're thinking of there.
Of our own, because I think Foxy Girl will be our best chance, but look, we've never had a winner at the meeting. We've never. I think it's the one major festival we haven't had a winner at, and I know we're firing a lot more darts than we have done before at it this year. But if you can get one on the board, you'd be delighted. I'd say she'd probably be our best chance.
Yeah, and then in terms of a whole weekend nap, is there anything that stands out to you?
As a whole weekend nap, is there anything? I backed Caragis a couple of weeks ago at 8-1. I think she's in 13-2 or 6-1 now or something like that.
Yeah.
I was really, as said earlier on, I was really taken by her run in Leopardstown. I think people are underestimating her a small bit now. Like, if you actually watch her, if she settles and she's basically £3 better off with us now. Like, she should fucking finish a few lengths in front of us anyway. Like, that's what I think personally. But
yeah,
and if not, then hopefully, and if you finish a few lengths in front of us, I'd like to think she won't be too far away from winning it.
No, that's
so hopefully she all of the ones that aren't darts, I'd be relatively sweet.
Yeah, no, that's fair enough. Look, Rob, thanks a lot for dropping on. I know might be back for another one pre-Cheltenham, so we'll try and hold you to that. But look, best of luck the weekend, and we'll see you in Leopardstown.
Yeah, spot on. Thanks, Cillian.
So many thanks to Rob for coming on there and giving us a run through of the Robcour runners for the weekend. Hopefully they have a bit of luck and get a couple of winners. So Paul, the next race that's on our agenda is the Chanelle Pharma Irish Champion Hurdle, and like this is one of the races of the weekend too, isn't it? It's Stateman 1-3, Imperia Pass 9-2, Bob Ollinger sort of general 10-1, Echoes and Rain 20s, and Phil Dudery is 100-1. Very hard to see Stateman beat for all. I'd love to see Bob Ollinger win. It's going to be a very difficult task, and Stateman is one of the best horses in training, and it's just unfortunate he's came along at the same time as Constitution Hill. But is it as easy as Stateman adds another Irish Champion Hurdle, Paul?
Yeah, sure it is. Look, he bet Honeysuckle fairly easy in the race last year. Then was no match for Constitution Hill, as the price suggests. There, seeing best price 1 to 3, bar disaster, he wins. Like, I'm sure Bob will have his Imperial Pass there, second choice in the betting, but I'm sure Bob will have his followers at a price, and I'd say Leopardstown would be absolutely hopping if Bob came home in front. But yeah, I think en route to Cheltenham, you'd like to see Stateman cement his credentials and somewhat give Constitution Hill something to think about. But yeah, we'll leave that for another day. I think he could be struggling in that department, but he should be taking this en route to Cheltenham.
Yeah, I agree with you there. And like, as I said to Rob just there a couple of minutes ago, like the roof will be torn off the stand if Bob Ollinger wins, and that'll just be myself pulling the roof off without anyone else there. But yeah, I think he's a huge price at 10 to 1. And maybe like if you wanted an interest in the race, my angle might be I might do a match bet against Imperial Pass and hope he's going to be ridden cold enough like he has been this season and try and come with run, I'd imagine. So hopefully he can beat Imperial Pass, and if he does beat Stateman, we'll have a party, right? So the first handicap, or the second handicap of the day, and it's a handicap chase over 2 miles 5 furlongs, is the 320, and it's a real competitive race. At the top of the betting we got, I know the way you're thinking, 6 to 1 James de Burley, 13 to 2 Meeting of the Waters, the Paddy Power winner, 7s Heartwood, 9 to 1, and then it's 12s, the bigger the rest. Real tough race to go through, Paul. I had a good look at it today, and it's very hard to find something that like there's a lot of horse in there that could be really well handicapped. Where was your eye drawn to?
For the win selection, I'd go James de Burley. Gets the tentative nod. He was about 8 to 1 earlier on when I was looking at this race. Now best price to 13 to 2. Ran well for a long way last time out. Was made plenty of use of. He's in the end, he dropped out to finish 4th. He was beaten around about 10 lengths by Meeting of the Waters. Before that, he was well beaten by Classic Getaway at Thurles at the end of November. It's interesting, Darrell Jacob, who's at Leopardstown, I never really get the relationship between Darrell and Willie and whatnot, but Darrell has ridden this horse on his most recent starts. He's at Leopardstown. Pete Townend takes over on Sunday afternoon. I don't know if Willie's just trying to throw a last dart at the board here with James de Burley to get a one beside his name. So for that reason, I think to drop back to 2 miles and 5.5 furlongs, I think is a plus. So it could be short enough at the prices at 13 to 2, but I'd be happy to take the favourite on with James de Burley. Plenty in then at bigger prices. You got Fakir Duderie, Marco also on board, top weight 11-12. Interesting, the connections are often not to claim off him, suggesting that he ought to be competitive off that weight. Top Phil Ben, I know he's not getting any younger, but good trainer in Phil Kerr. We used to ride for Phil when he first started training. Would know the time of day. Top Phil Ben, he's been round the block at this stage, but he's won in his best form. If he comes here in decent form, there'll be plenty of extra places. If you're having an each way bet, Top Phil Ben could be worth a small each way bet. Best price 40 to 1. And also Vanilla, second in the Grand National at Aintree, has rock solid on his best form. He's pretty solid. He's enough weight there at 11.3, but he's top price at 50 to 1. Could be another each way selection. So that's Top Phil Ben and Vanilla for the each way plays, and James de Burley for the win.
No, that's fair enough. And Top Phil Ben ran a cracker in this race last year off the same mark. He was beaten 3 lengths by the Goffer. He's back in third. Yeah, it's a real tricky affair now, to be honest. And like there's a lot of horses now I've in trackers and stuff, and it's just hard to try and separate them. But Good Time Johnny for Tony Martin. He was a winner at this meeting a couple of years ago over hurdles. He won the 3 mile handicap hurdle. He was the Pertemps winner last year. He's had 4 starts over fences. He's been given a mark of 133, which is £9 below his hurdle mark. I don't think he's been trying too hard over fences so far. On a handicap debut, he was beaten 37 lengths by Pat's Choice in a handicap at Naas over 2 miles.
What are you trying to suggest, Kenny?
I don't think he's never stopped a horse in his life, Tony Martin. But maybe this horse hasn't put his best foot forward. But going back up in trip, and he used a 2 mile trip to sharpen up the horses jumping last year in Leopardstown before going to Cheltenham and win the Pertemps. He ran him against Gaelic Warrior in the Liffey handicap, and like it seems it could be a similar type of thing done here. He's ran him over 2 miles in Naas, and going back up in trip now. He probably does want further, but I think does have a good chance. And if there's a few quid for him, he'd be well worth the go. And then another one I was looking at is his Lucid Dreams for John Ryan. I think he's an absolute smashing horse. It's great for John to get a horse of his quality, and he ran really well behind Uncle Ben in the Dan Joe Moore handicap, or Uncle Phil in the Dan and Joe Moore handicap in Fairyhouse last time. He's beaten 3 lengths. Going up in trip, he probably does need to settle a bit better, but like he's a horse that definitely still has scope for improvement. He is a 9-year-old, but he only made his race course debut in March of this year, which is now he's had plenty of runs in classic John Ryan fashion. He's 15 runs since, but I do think he can still improve, and Liam Quinlan takes off a useful £5. I think it is good for the horses down lower in the betting to have Fakir Dudery there to sort of condense the weights. Like Lucid Dreams is 10 stone 10 minus the £5, so like that's a huge boost there. And you'd be wondering, is JP using it for a Percival de Galois there, the 7-year-old for Gavin Cromwell? He's running from out of the handicap, but by £3, but Connor Stonewalsh has taken off 5, so he's in theory he's racing off a weight of 9 stone 12. So like JP's done this sort of thing before by running a top weight in a handicap to sort of get a nice racing weight on one. And if there was money for the likes of a Percival de Galois, it would speak volumes, and it might be worth getting involved with him. So the second last race then on the card is the Timeless Sash Windows handicap hurdle over 2 miles. Again, another really competitive handicap, and I think I speak for everyone. I think any handicap in the Dublin Racing Festival, they're all very hard to win, and they're all really competitive this weekend. We got Magical Zoe, the mare for Henry de Bromhead. She's best price 13-2. Attaboy Charlie, a winner of Christmas for Edward Cawley, is best price 7s. On Tubber, bringing the Grade 1 Farron Glory novice form to the table, is 8-1, and it's 10s bigger the rest. Paul, tough race. Wouldn't like to be needing one of these to get out now, but what would you think here?
No, I side with Magic Tricks, who ran out a good winner under young Carl Miller at Down Royal in a listed hurdle back in November. Got the job done nicely on that occasion, and then I thought ran pretty well at Fairyhouse. Ended up finishing 4th in a similar event last time out. I think that was on day 2 of the Winter Festival at Fairyhouse. That was in a race won by Common Practice. Was in the lead actually approaching the last, and then just tired to finish 4th. So I think if the legs hold up, I think Magic Tricks, young Carl Miller, he's been on board the last couple of runs. I think can outrun his odds of 16-1.
No, that's fair enough, and he's a very consistent horse as well, and he's been running really well. One I like is a mare in the race, Zenta for Willie and JP McManus. She was a Grade 1 winner over hurdles last year in Aintree, beating Bows in it by a short head. Previous to that, she'd been only beaten 2 lengths by Lossiemouth in the Triumph hurdle. She's back over hurdles after I thought it was still a decent run. On Chase debut in a Grade 2 down in Cork. She was beaten by Silent Approach, who's a really, really likeable mare. Her Monumaker was second, who's a very, very nice horse too, and she's won since. So it'll be interesting to see how she fares back over hurdles. Jodie McGarvey takes the ride there. She's best price 10-1, mark of 138. I'd say she could still improve on that, given the fact that look at what Lossiemouth has done last week over in Cheltenham, and Gallimar sold the horse in second, one over in France. So you would imagine Zinta would give it a fair rattle anyway. And then another one at maybe a bigger price than that is another Tony Martin horse, Nibiru. I think he's a horse that he ran well in this race last year. He was second to Gaelic Warrior, and like I know some of his subsequent runs haven't been great. And he does have a lot of sort of a double figure numbers by his name, but he could be just primed for this again. And he's running off a £1 mark higher than last year. Philip Enright takes the ride again. And down towards the bottom of the weights off 10 stone 4. There's no Gaelic warrior in this race. And like, he did go off 40s last year, so he wasn't even punted. So like, if you do see him at that sort of price again, he could be trying, he could be off. And like, he did run well last year, and I think course form is a big plus there for him. So it'd be nice to see him run well at a big price. So the last race then we have on our list here, Paul, is the Coolmore National Hunt Stars EBF Mayor's Flat Race Grade 2. Again, as I said to the handicap, I wouldn't like to be betting on this to try and get out for the weekend and break even, but Aurora Vega, full sister to Facile Vega and the daughter of Cuega, she's 7-4 shot. Mongebello 11-2, Fleur de Fusil 7-1, Femme Magnifique 8-1, and then Baby Kate, the daughter of Augusta Kate, is 9-1, and you got bigger the rest then. I wouldn't be too big on punting and bumpers, Paul. I don't know about yourself, but is there anything here that you think is a great chance?
I think the favourite wins. I think 7-4. If I was having a good scut on one now, Aurora Vega be getting it. 7-4, I think it'll be a big price. She's 3 from 3, perfect 3 from 3. She looks a cut above average. And yeah, she was very good, I thought, at Gorham Park last time out. She takes the beating here. And like I said, I'll be surprised if she goes off. I don't think she'll go off bigger at 7-4. I think she'll be backed into possibly a shade of odds on, I think. One at a price, if you had to try and take her on, I think Baby Kate. She was a good winner. I don't think she'd be good enough, but she might just be sneak a place here. I thought she was pretty good at, got the job done at Cheltenham at their open meeting back in November. She might just sneak a place here for Barry O'Neill. But yeah, I think they'll have their work cut out to get the better of Aurora Vega.
Yeah, I'd agree with you there. I think the form she's shown is by far the best on offer so far. And like, I think if like if she'd only ran in the 2 summer races and she was coming here a 7-4 shot, I'd be saying take her on all day. That, you know, summer form, you have to sort of take it on. But she won on real testing ground down in Gorham Park, and she's proved she can do it on a nicer surface and that testing ground as well. So she should take all the beating. But I'd agree with you on Baby Kate as well. I think she was impressive in Cheltenham, and it's interesting that she's sort of down the pecking order. Barry O'Neill takes the ride there, so it was just interesting to see that he ends up getting there, because he wouldn't have a lot of bumper rides for Willie. So you'd be nearly hoping, if like I was hoping it'd be Jodie Townend that'd get up on Baby Kate, but unfortunately it's not. And then one at just a bigger price than that is a point-to-point winner for Bective Stud, Gordon Elliott, Hollybrook. I think she was very impressive in her point-to-point, and I don't know, maybe she mightn't have the speed for this type of bumper, but you know, it's fancy connections, and they're running one here on debut in a grade 2, and she might outrun her odds. But I think it's Willie's got the top 5 in the betting, or 4 of the top 5 in the betting, so he probably will win it. So yeah. If you put a gun to my head, I'd be backing Aurora Vega, but I give Baby Kate a squeak as well. So that brings us to the end of the Sunday's preview. I want to thank Paul for coming on and sharing his thoughts. And just before you go, then we might just get your nap of the day on the Sunday, and then if there's anything else you fancy across the weekend.
Nap of the day on Sunday. Let me see. For a nap, I would maybe go for a nap. I think Rispel in the first race on the Sunday. I'm looking at that Ballyburn race, and I can't. I think it's fascinating, and I would love to stick my neck on the line there. But I think the Robcour horse, just like you said, might be more suited with the 2.5 mile. And like we said, Ballyburn could go win by 10 lengths, and you'd be going, just what was he on about? 2 miles, stiff 2 miles around Leopardstown. But I just think 2 miles, Ballyburn may be vulnerable to something that might have a quicker turn of foot in the closing stages. But yeah, I think Rispel will take a bit of beating in the 12:40 on Sunday. And elsewhere on the weekend, I think Jatara in the first on Saturday. I'm seeing a bit of money for Jessica Harrington's charge. She was about the 4-1 mark. She's now 11-4. Rachel's on board. She's a little cracker, I think. And I think even at 11-4, she'll take a bit of beating. And from a visual... Sorry?
No, go on, you continue.
From a visual perspective on Saturday, I'm looking forward to watching Marine Nationale. I hope we see something special there.
Yeah, no, definitely. And just going back on Jatara, I think she's been sort of steadily punted the last couple of weeks as well. I remember seeing 14, 16 to 1 about her. So
Okay.
people have got on, and she does have a great chance, and she's been backed into second favourite now as we're talking. In terms of my nap for Sunday, give a vote to Fact to File. I just think he's an absolute cracker of a horse, and like I could look foolish here now, but I do think he'll beat Gaelic Warrior. Even over this trip, and I think if they went up to 3 miles, I'd be really more confident. But over 2 miles 5, almost 2 miles 6, I'd be going with Fact to File there, and then something at a bigger price, maybe Good Time Johnny, in the handicap, the 320. And like you, that I do hope we see some big performances from the likes of Marine National, Gallop and Deschamps, El Fabiola, like really cement themselves at the head of the markets for Cheltenham. So anyway, Paul, I'd like to thank you again for coming on, and hopefully we'll get a few winners for ourselves, and I hope you enjoyed the day at Leopardstown tomorrow.
Super. Likewise. Thanks for having me.
Cheers. Thank you.
It's Paddy stuck on